So I feel like every few months they come out with some kind of new grand Earth that's supposed to replace the one that we're already on because we have so many corporations and companies trying to just suck it all dry for its resources and treat it like shit, kind of like the Shinra people in Final Fantasy VII. Scientists just found Earth 2. Please don't tell humanity about it though, because I feel like they're going to have limited spaces whenever it's time to move, guys. They're just going to leave us here in this really dusty little planet that they've drained of all life, and it's going to be like this big desert that we all live on at that point. And we're just going to look up in the sky and just see them all on their nice new little green planet because we're not cool enough for that. But I feel like every time this happens, there's a bunch of people on the internet that kind of react like they just found a new Zillow listing for a new place that they can go move to. That pretty much everybody wants to get on a huddle bus and go to the next server, but I'm pretty sure that's something that's only going to be held for the most prominent and rich of the elites. But seeing that a lot of these planet discoveries are like 48 light years away, you can only imagine what the rent's going to be, and that's going to be the excuse as to why we can't go. And it does seem that this discovery may be a little bit more valid than other ones that we've seen in the past, as there's been tons of Earth 2 speculations, Planet X, whatever the fuck, Mars may be inhabitable in a few years, like type shit going on. But it seems like they've actually found something legitimately exciting this time. Astronomers have discovered a rocky planet about 48 light years away called the LHS 1140-B. That's a fucking mouthful, but unlike most of these space headlines that amount to we've just found a giant ball of gas, it's got rocky biomes, it's in a habitable zone, and it has an atmosphere that is actually inhabitable by humans, it seems. Basically, this is the cosmic equivalent of finding an apartment that isn't infested with mold and roaches. So it seems that they found something that maybe they could like grow a raspberry on. I don't know. Scientists have published this discovery in Science after confirming that helium has been escaping from this planet. And because there's helium that's been escaping from the planet, I guess that indicates that it's managing to hold an atmosphere for its own, which sounds incredibly technical, but my Neanderthal caveman up in the fucking woods brain doesn't really understand it. So it kind of just translates to, yep, that planet still has air on it and it could probably be breathed in by humans. So it's actually somewhere where maybe they could go and take off their masks. But I'm not going to be the first one to do that shit. I want to see somebody else do it to make sure their eyeballs don't get sucked out of their head before I do some shit like that, honestly. And according to researchers, there are basically three things that are needed above like having an atmosphere that you need to actually maintain an Earth-like style of the planet. First off is a rocky surface, because it's hard to build a civilization on Jupiter when your house is immediately falling into an endless hurricane of like hydrogen and random shit that's floating around there and everything is unstable. And number two, it has to have the right temperature for liquid water, not lava, not frozen solid. It can't be like evaporating into steam immediately, and it can't just be like freezing the second that you open up a fucking bottle of fucking Deer Park. And you don't want it to be so freaking hot that it's gonna like singe your eyebrows off and everything. So it's got to be nice, boring, plain water whenever it's on the surface of the planet. And finally, an atmosphere. So we have that in check, because being able to breathe is genuinely a pretty useful thing when you're trying to survive and not die immediately, because we kind of have to have air. But I wonder if that means that this planet has trees or what? Like, where does that come from? Because on Earth, like carbon dioxide gets turned into oxygen through trees. So I'm kind of curious about how that actually works out on a planet that doesn't have greenery of its own. But maybe they have some alternate way that air is just making itself. I don't know. But with any one of those things being not where it needs to be, you're kind of living on a fucking nightmare planet at that point. And I feel like the difficulty is going to be ramped all the way up if you're doing that shit. Like it's going to turn into Dune or some shit if you aren't having one of these things working out. Apparently, LHS 1140b has all three of these things taken into account. They've already discovered that it's going to be good. So I guess we can start packing our bags. It's still 48 light years away, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get there. To put it a little bit into perspective, if you drove a Honda Civic there, you'd roughly arrive there around the same time that our sun decided to go ahead and implode on itself and destroy all of us anyway. So maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. But maybe it's not a good idea to start looking up moving companies just yet and seeing what their budget is like for getting us off the planet. But scientists are saying that the planet could potentially support microbial life. So I guess they have to research and see if there's maybe any bacteria or microbes already growing on the planet. Right after all of these announcements, pretty much 5 minutes later, I feel like a whole bunch of Redditors on the internet were immediately gravitating towards this, being like, Maybe I can find an alien girlfriend there or something. I don't know. But like, relax. We haven't seen any grass yet. We haven't seen any greenery. There's barely even a shrub there. I don't think there's anything growing on this planet that they've found out so far. For all we know, it's just a giant rock with maybe decent weather. I don't know. Could be a little musty. I don't know how it would be. Still, regardless of that, it's a pretty big milestone in science. I feel like them actually finding a planet and being able to confirm all of these things is a pretty big step. I think in the past, a lot of the things that have come out like this have been disproven because of one thing or another, or just ending up being a giant ball of gas, like I said, because we found plenty of planets, but most of them are basically just the universe saying, like, here's another floating, flaming orb of death that may kill you if you get too close, or just something that's uninhabitable for one reason or another. But this one is different. It's one of the strongest pieces of evidence that they found that Earth might not be some impossible cosmic accident either. And it's a closer planet to Earth than we've ever been able to discover as a species, which is kind of weird. I don't really like that it seems like they're trying to disprove a lot of things in history. I don't really like either that they're kind of disproving themselves in the past by saying that, Earth is not some unique thing or whatever. We know that there could be other forms of life and other planets that could hold a habitat, but I don't think that they've found anything on this planet yet. For some reason, it's like they don't have the ability to pull the plug and be like, yo, this 100% is a go. So I feel like we could run into a hiccup here. With this comes the potential of there maybe even being thousands of planets like this, maybe even millions or billions or trillions or quintillions. I don't know. But there's planets that could have the ingredients to store life in our universe other than Earth. That doesn't mean that there's things living there, but we don't really know yet if there is or not. So they try to look into bacteria and other kinds of microorganisms that are growing on the planet, and maybe there could be fish or other things as well, because looking back at history, there's people that believe that, through time, microorganisms evolved over and over again into things like fish and then animals and blah, 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 blah. That's just one theory of the whole entire thing. But there could be a civilization watching their own version of YouTube and conspiracy videos about fucking humans living on a planet far, far away. I don't know. That could be kind of interesting if like a whole maybe that's like a whole like Earth 1 Part 2. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be like a whole weird alternate reality out there somewhere in the galaxy that could be some fucking Klingon sitting on a sofa just like watching their fucking reality TV or some shit. I don't know. Honestly, that probably could be happening. Imagine there being some kind of like alien content creator saying like, guys, scientists discovered this weird planet called Earth, and apparently they're still arguing about if pineapple goes on pizza, and if people that are like in a giant list of files hurting the youngest and most innocent people on our planet should be ridiculed or not. That's stupid as fuck. But they probably look at us with disgust at this point. I feel like they'd immediately mark our planet as uninhabitable just based off of those kind of things and just think that we're like a bunch of evil savages. But like I do also wonder if out there there's like some bakery in a different planet on a different galaxy making cosmic brownies, or maybe it's called the Cosmic Bakery. I don't know. Maybe they can confirm if either our Milky Way or if there is a Milky Way that is confirmed to be made up of some kind of snack material, something edible, something a little tasty, a little on the sweet side. I don't know. I just really wish scientists could answer these questions. But all jokes aside, discoveries like this are pretty incredible and they're pretty groundbreaking, but it's not been the first time that we've seen something like this, so don't be jumping out of your seats just yet. These things aren't incredible because we're about to shake hands with ET next Tuesday, which, depending on who you ask, they may already be here. But because every single time we find another planet capable of supporting life, the odds that we're completely alone get a little bit smaller, and the possibilities that there are something else out there, which, like I said, they could already be here. Who fucking knows? I don't claim to know anything, but it gets a little bit smaller, the probability that we're alone here, which is a little spooky. I don't know. But let's just hope that if aliens are intelligent and actually living out there, they don't look at our Twitter, because we're going to get destroyed, decimated. They're not even going to try to like take over. I think they're just going to like crumble us up like a piece of paper and throw us away. Yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about everything going on with all of this new discovery shit. It's not the only space discovery that we found recently. Apparently, there's also raspberries being found and like sugar and different shit. I don't know. We're going to talk about that in a little bit too, but it's kind of wild. Weird shit's happening all over the place every other fucking day. But regardless of any of that, just remember, smile, be happy, stay on the positive side of things. Don't let everything fucking weird you out because it weirds me out. I'll tell you what, it really weirds me out sometimes. But anyway, leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know what you guys think about everything. Are you gonna get the first ticket to fucking Earth 2 whenever it comes out? I'd love to see the sequel. I barely finished the first one, but yeah, let me know. Have a good one, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.